Thanks and welcome to join me on the 6:15. I'm Kejang Henry at our headlines. "24 hours after Sunday's political standoff, Grand neighborhood in Douala remains under tight security surveillance, casting a long shadow over residents and businesses. While traffic has resumed and shops have opened, the atmosphere remains tense and uncertain. As Cameroon edges closer to a high-stakes 2025 presidential election, media professionals are being called to account. In an open letter that is making waves in press circles, renowned journalist Eric Chinje is urging the country's media to shed the cloak of neutrality and step in a more active and responsible role. And across Cameroon, thousands of students in the Francophone subsystem of education began writing the 2025 session of the Probatoire General Examination this morning. The 6:15 news comes up in the split second with anchorman Kejang Henry at Timbeshu. You can check up with us on our respective platforms on Canal International. Some members of the dreaded gang or city gang known as Le Microbe that have been terrorizing some neighborhoods in Yaoundé last Thursday have been yanked into the Kondengi Maximum Central Prison. That took place today, and after the arrest by the National Gendarmerie and the police, the procedure was fast-tracked under the supervision or coordination of the senior divisional officer from Fundi. Let's meet our man on the beat, Hyacinthe Chia, who is still standing by at the Kondengi prison to witness how this gang was yanked.
It was at about 4:30 p.m. when the troublemakers, commonly known as the microbes, were brought here at the Yaoundé Central Prison, Kondengi, under the Fundi SGO Emmanuel Marel Digdent from their different respective cells.
And we want to ensure population that they should not be afraid, but they have just to collaborate. What happened last Thursday is not good, and we will never accept that the disorder happens in this town. Never and never. And those who will try, or those who have tried, they are going to see, or they will see. We will never accept. So we congratulate gendarmes and policemen who arrive in the seat some minutes after. And we say that never and never we will not accept the disorder here in this town.
Some coming from the gendarmerie cells, 14 in number, as well as 13 coming from the police cell. And it should be noted they were arrested for storming the different neighborhoods in Yaoundé. That is the Mukolo, Melen and Biamasi neighborhoods in Yaoundé last Thursday, terrorizing the population, seizing property, brutalizing others, just like what we've always witnessed in the nation's economic capital, Douala. The guys were so much active, but the gendarmerie and the police officers strategized to crack them down. And at the moment, like I said, 27 of them are here now at the Kondengi Central Prison, kept under the administrative custody while waiting for trials. From the Yaoundé Central Prison, Hyacinthe Chia, Serge Alain Ziebu. Back to you in the studio.
About Hyacinthe Chia for that information. We will be coming back to you for minute by minute as it unfolds, and we come back to Douala, where 24 hours after Sunday's political standoff, Gramule neighborhood remains under tight security surveillance. Of course, this is casting doubt and shadows over the residents' business and their livelihood. But though traffic has resumed and all the shops opened, the atmosphere is still very tense. Demoring.
In Douala's Grand Moulin area, residents and business owners are grappling with the aftermath of heightened security measures following the blockade of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement MRC headquarters. While vehicular and pedestrian movement has resumed, a palpable sense of unease lingers among the populace. It affects us. A majority of the population here find, or when they see security forces, they are afraid and they don't want to come closer. Only courageous ones come out and buy foodstuff. Activities have been slow. Many locals reported being confined to their homes on Sunday, unable to conduct their usual activities. Although businesses have reopened, proprietors note a significant drop in patronage and attributing it to the intimidating presence of military and police forces. Customers are staying away. Business has been slow for the past 2 days, one shopkeeper lamented. The presence of forces of law and order created fear among the population. People are just afraid. Nobody wants to come out. It's intimidating. It's a dead Monday for us. Contrary to yesterday, today activities are really slow. They placed barricades on major roads and was difficult circulating. Today the situation is much more better. Yesterday it was extremely difficult. The sustained deployment of security personnel continues to cast a shadow over the neighborhoods, with residents expressing concerns about the potential for further disruptions. As the community navigates this tense atmosphere, the economic and social repercussions of the security clampdown remain a pressing issue.
And we months to go for the crucial 2025 presidential election, the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM, is stepping up grassroots mobilization. Transport Minister Jean-Enes Ngale-Bibeher actually launched a strategic tour across the Senegal Maritime Division to mobilize and galvanize for support. Details with Gladys Ambu-Diban.
As part of a nationwide push ahead of the 2025 presidential poll, Jean-Enes Ngale-Bibeher, head of the CPDM Permanent Divisional Delegation and member of the Central Committee, has begun a walking visit across all 11 party sections in the division. Over the weekend, the Minister of Transport made stops in the Senegal Maritime Gambia North and Masok-Songlulu Northwest sections, where he was welcomed by crowds of party faithful. He told them unity, vision and mobilization will be the key pillars of the CPDM's campaign strategy.
Le moment venu, voter utile. Voter utile, c'est choisir sans hésitation ni réserve le président Polia, qui est le garant de la paix et la stabilité de nos institutions.
The visit marks the start of what officials describe as a strategic offensive, a coordinated effort to revitalize the party's grassroots and ensure electoral readiness across the region. At each stop, Ngale-Bibeher outlined 4 key priorities: to revitalize the lower organs of the party, reinforce ties with the national hierarchy, recruit new members, and boost voter registration.
Notre descente par une série de meetings pour manifester notre joie de se retrouver et une occasion de plus pour mobiliser les troupes pour l'élection présidentielle.
He also seized the opportunity to highlight what he called the tangible achievement of President Paul Biya's government, pointing to progress in infrastructure, education, and local development. The mobilization effort in the Senegal Maritime is seen as critical in the broader electoral calculus. With the political landscape shifting and the opposition hoping to make gains, the CPDM is keen to assert its presence and lock in voter loyalty early.
And as Cameroon edges closer to this high-stake 2025 presidential election, media professionals are being called to account in an open letter that is already making waves within the press circle. Renowned journalist Eric Chinji is urging the country's media journalists to make sure they shed the cloak of neutrality and step up into more active and responsible role. Ntariki Divine reports.
As the clocks tick down to the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon, the country faces a dangerous mix of political instability, a struggling economy, and rising social unrest. Many citizens, feeling helpless, have started to resign themselves to the idea that nothing will change. But in a just released, compelling open letter, renowned journalist and mentor Eric Chinje calls on media professionals to stop being bystanders and start leading the way to change. The letter paints a bleak picture. Unemployment is high, the healthcare system is failing, and corruption is widespread. Yet, it also offers hope. The media can change the conversation by focusing on the real issues: good governance, economic recovery, and social stability. With concerns about election fraud, Chinje's message is clear. The media must do more than just report the news. They must hold leaders accountable and lead meaningful discussions that can shape the country's future. As Cameroon prepares for the crucial October presidential poll, Chinje, writing on behalf of the Cameroon New Vision Group CANVI, believes the media has the power to steer the country towards a future where every citizen believes real change is possible.
And across Cameroon, thousands of students of the Francophone subsystem of education began writing the 2025 session of the Baccalaureate General Examinations this morning from the cities to the hinterlands. It was mixed feelings and sort of anxiety. Ate Bonaventure actually moved through some of the examination classes in Yaoundé.
One per bench, heads facing the exam sheet in total tranquility. The Probatoire General Examination kick-starts at the Gopal Bilingual College Sub-Center under strict control.
Nous avons effectivement accueilli les candidats à partir de 6h30.
We started receiving the candidates from 6:30 a.m. Everything has been put in place to ensure order and tranquility, and at exactly 8 a.m. the first paper started.
Nous avons lancé la première épreuve.
The first paper of the exam was French literature, scheduled to be written for 4 hours.
The first paper was not difficult. I wrote well, and I think all will be fine. It was not difficult. The questions were within my reach.
The accommodation center is host to 470 candidates from colleges around Yaoundé 1 municipality. Probatoire is a certificate examination that is specific to the French subsystem of senior secondary education in Cameroon.
Ate Bonaventure reported there. Thanks very much, Ate. And Cameroon's red-hot momentum after 3-0 bashing of Uganda faces a potential roadblock as they are going to take on the Zalang National of Equatorial Guinea. Director Divines, look at the stakes of this game.
After their commanding 3-0 win over Uganda on Friday evening, the Indomitable Lions head into their final international friendly tonight in Morocco with confidence. But one question continues flapping the lips of observers. Can Equatorial Guinea end Mark Brice's unbeaten run with Cameroon? Since taking charge, the Belgian coach has made his mark, rotating the squad and giving young players a chance. And the most recent result is that emphatic 3-0 win over Uganda, with goals from Flavien Boyomo, Jean-Florent Batum and Patrick Soko, set up by the rising stars Abubakar Nagida and Arthur Avom, all young stars. However, tonight's game could be a different challenge. While Brice may continue with his quote-unquote new generation, Equatorial Guinea cannot be underestimated. The Nzalang National have proven time and again, especially at the Africa Cup of Nations, that they can spring surprises. And so for Brice, tonight is more than just a friendly. It is a vital test ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers and the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. And a loss, even with squad rotation, could derail the momentum of his fresh Cameroon team.
Thanks very much, Darike Divine. You drained the curtains for this edition of the 6:15. And of course, we got information that those city gangs terrorizing the Yaoundé neighbors or neighborhoods have been yanked into the Kondengi Central Prison. And of course, how probatory examinations actually began this morning in Yaoundé. Lee Piojo is coming up with the debrief de l'actualité. From all of us, it's goodbye from me.